Just give me a reason to keep my heart beating. Don't worry, it's safe right here in my arms. As the world falls apart around us, all we can do is hold on, hold on.
What is up, guys? DT Ninja here to bring you my latest Itachi Shinden, the adaptation review. This is from this week's chapter, The Genius. This is a little late. Sorry for the delay, but I've been a little under the weather. I've been sick, so bear with me if my voice is a little different. But I have a lot to share with you guys. First, I want to, go over some interesting points in some funny and cute moments of the episode, because it was really an interesting episode. And then I have some of my passages I'm going to share with you guys, and I want to analyze them and show you the differences, what similarities they have to the anime. So yeah, but before that, I want to share with you one thing from the novels. So, as you know, this is Itachi Shinden Komyo. This is the brightest future, or the bright future. Now, inside we have the color scan of Shisui and Itachi as Anbu. So this is an extra given to those who buy the novel. And it also comes with a limited edition trading, it's not really a trading card, but a collector's card. So you have Itachi and Shisui here as Anbu. So this happens later in the novel. But before we actually go into the content, I want to explain, in this novel, there are over 231 pages in this novel, and we've only covered about maybe 66 or so. So we have a lot to go still. So I'm a little concerned how much they're going to be able to put into the upcoming episodes, but I am enjoying it while it lasts. I really wish they would have had a full anime on it, because it really deserves one. So I really hope that we're going to see him in the Chunin exams. We're going to see his actions with his teammates. We're going to see things specifically Anbu related, things like that I really want them to cover. Scenes with Sasuke, they're doing a very good job with that. Scenes with Izumi, they're doing a good job with that as well. They're adding their own twist to it, but at the same time, they're doing a great job. I really enjoy. Now, before we begin the serious portion, the very beginning of the episode, we have we see, you might not even notice it, but we see the masked man on the Hokage mountain, and actually we see, well, not the Hokage mountain, but another mountain. But anyway, we see the Hokage mountain as it goes. And if you notice, Tsunade, Granny Tsunade is on the mountain. Someone pointed that out to me, and I thought it was really funny. Some people really might be pissed at Studio Pro for doing that, but I mean, that's not the point of the episode. The point of the episode is for Itachi, so I just wanted to point that out because I thought that was pretty funny. She's not Hokage now. Minato's Hokage, so anyway, yeah, let's go into the moments, like the funny and cute moments of the beginning. So I made this GIF for Sasuke and Itachi. It's where it's in between restoration and his time at the academy. Sasuke and Itachi are, playing together, and Itachi is, clapping, and Sasuke's crawling to him. It's just this really, adorable scene where you just see the love, the brotherly love, you really see it between the two. They always had this love for each other, and it's really great to see. But yeah, check it out. And as you can see, it really is there. And then, at the end he says, mata kondone, next time, Sasuke. So we really get, the characters down really well, and it's really going according to the novel as far as Sasuke and Itachi go. That is really well done. Now, the other part, the funny part, is where Izumi shows up. This is during Restoration after the attack on Konoha, and she shows up at Itachi's complex, and he's got Sasuke in his hands, and she wants to hold him, and so she's holding him, but she asked to hold him, and he's like, no. I don't want him to cry. And she's like, why not? So she eventually takes him, and he immediately just starts wailing. And it's so funny because he's pushing her face, and this look on her face is just hilarious. So yeah, that was a really, really great part of the that scene was really funny. Itachi takes him back, and he's like really gentle and really adorable, and then Izumi is like, well, she's really pissed off, like, why doesn't he do that for me, So it was a really funny moment. It's great to have those moments, especially when war is shown in these type of episodes. So yeah. All right, on to the chapter. So part one, I'm going to split this up into 5 parts because I have 5 scenes to share with you. The first part is the attack on Konoha. Obviously, we get, Kuchiyose no Jutsu. The masked man unleashes the 9 tails, right? He unleashes the 9 tails. Really like how they set it up, and then you got Itachi, really playing the part really well. Nanda, what is this feeling? Kono kanji, what is this sensation I'm feeling? And then, we get, the attack of the Kyuubi for the village. So really, really did a nice job of that. Now, as far as what Itachi does in this scene, it's very different. It's very different. Okay, he does protect Sasuke, okay? And he does go off to the shelter. However, he does something completely different in the novel, and I'm going to point this out. I like how they're including Izumi, throughout. Izumi's kind of off on her own, but she has an important role that they're skipping out on, and I'm going to point both of these roles out, and it's not the damsel in distress here. While I did like it, he's reaching out to her, saving her, but in the novel, it's very different, and I want to point this out. All right, so I'm going to try to act some of the voices here. Sorry about my voice. So, this comes from page 26 of the novel, and I call it Something More Meaningful. Itachi was standing in a pathway near his home, and suddenly Makoto arrives behind him. Itachi! Mother! She had held him tightly as she looked up at Sasuke as well. I was so worried about you two, so I had to come back. I know you were waiting for me. Please forgive me. It's okay, Mother. Even though this was an unexpected crisis, she had felt like she had abandoned her children. Tension had built up in his eyes, and he knew he had to protect his little brother. And then, for a brief moment, he was somewhat calm. Far off in the distance, he could hear the growls of the Kyuubi as it smashed through buildings. Collapsing rocks were falling near the house. It seemed like they were dancing in midair. There was one in particular that had fallen close by, nearby. As he held Sasuke, his eyes met his mother's gaze. Without warning, something flew right at them. With his eyes, he followed it. And then what happens next? His mother to her children. There was a massive boulder, slightly crumbling. I will protect both of you, she said, using a form of taijutsu, but not only his physical strength. Even a young child of 5 would be incapable of such feats. But this was no ordinary child. If he could rely on his chakra, anything is possible. Mother had noticed this rock flying at us and stepped in front of it, but Itachi pushed up with his fist as high as he could. With his arm overflowing with chakra, it was like he was covered in light flames. Itachi's fist smashed right through the massive rock. Mother was a jonin, so she was skilled enough, but she wanted to protect them at all costs. She had closed her eyes, waiting for impact, but upon opening them, she found Itachi gazing up at her. Are you alright, Mother? For a moment, she was in awe of her son's great agility and decision to use his chakra in this manner. It's dangerous here. Come now, let's head to the shelter where everyone is gathered. Yes, you're right. Even though you haven't entered the academy yet, it won't be long now. After all, you are our son, right? All around them, they could hear the screams of women and children. Men yelled in anger, and there was a thunderous roar that mixed with the wreckage. It was a terrifying situation. People were fleeing as blood spilled around them, and there was even a man missing an arm, crying out, yelling to his comrades. Itachi heard a harsh yet piercing sound. It echoed through his mind. Even though it's not a reason to run, this tiring distance seemed suffocating. It was like that day he had witnessed, a ray of light on that bloody battlefield. Conflict. A sharp pain was running through the back of his eyes. It's the same as the time before. A wave of power was pulsating at the back of his eyes. For a moment, it felt like his field of vision was dyed in crimson red. And then suddenly, for an instant, that sensation subsided. Itachi! I'm alright, Mother. Alright, guys. So, what happened in this portion of the novel? The actual scene shows Itachi protecting his mother and Sasuke both from a giant boulder. Now, Mikoto comes back to protect her children, and I had no idea, but she's a Jonin. She's a Jonin ninja. She comes back to protect her children, and she ends up, shielding them, from the boulder. But Itachi, using his intelligence, and his quick thinking, he literally uses the chakra built up in his arms and smashes the boulder right in front of them. And when she opens her eyes, she can't believe, that they're safe, everyone's safe. So it was really great to see that, him protecting his family. So in this case, it's his family instead of Izumi. And then we have the Itachi, Itachi actually, seeing the red crimson of the bloody battlefield from before in the Third Great Ninja War. He's seeing the flashback, but it's not just a flashback. He actually has the Sharingan at the back of his eyes, and he represses it. He represses the Sharingan yet again. So he could have activated the Sharingan, and instead he represses it. And that's why Mikoto is like, are you alright? What's wrong? So, yeah, that scene is very interesting in the novel. So I wanted to, give you guys a chance to understand what happened. Alright, so on to the next scene. Alright, guys, moving on to scene number 2, and that has to be the restoration, part where we see, we have the funeral of the 4th Hokage, Kushina. We see Naruto. We see, Itachi with Izumi. So you have that connection there. I kind of like how you're doing it in the anime, but at the same time, it's not how it's covered in the novel. I just wanted to let you know that. But it's still well done what they're doing. The one thing I did like is how they show the meetings. Okay, first we have the meeting between the different clan members. Okay, you got the leader of the Aburame, the leader of the Nara clan. We got Fugaku, the leader of the Uchiha. You got Danzo and the Hokage. The elders are all in this meeting, and Danzo is sitting there, and he's basically blaming the Uchiha. There's only an Uchiha could, control the Kyuubi. So this cannot be overlooked, And while he's saying this, what he's saying is true. He's sitting there with the Sharingan in his eye and Sharingan in his arms, and he's blaming them, So that kind of pisses me off, At the same time, he is right. It is an Uchiha, but it's not the Uchiha that are protecting the village. So it's really disheartening sometimes when you know the truth and seeing this firsthand. So anyway, I like how it's shown. It's shown pretty well. And then you get the scene with the Nakano Shrine. At the Nakano Shrine, you got Fugaku there. You got his most trusted advisors and his subordinates like Teika, Yashiro, Inabi. So we see all of them there, and they're all, complaining about how the village is treating them now, distancing themselves away from the center part of the village. And Fugaku, is really, insistent. He's like, we have to do this. This is our duty. He's not really fighting against them, but at the same time, in his mind, he really believes that he has to, but he's more, tougher, but at the same time, he really does, respect their wishes, out loud, especially to his clan members. But Itachi knows the truth. Itachi knows the truth, and he's standing outside the shrine waiting for Father to teach him some jutsu. Teach me shuriken jutsu. Teach me some new jutsu. And I want to give you guys a scene that was before the great... it was actually before the attack on Konoha, and this is after the third great ninja war. So it's a couple weeks after the fourth Hokage was introduced. Got a new Hokage, and you see the Uchiha, already, complaining. And this secret meeting takes place in Itachi's home. So Itachi arrives home and finds, his father talking with his advisors, and they're talking about serious matters. And this is where he realizes what the Uchiha, why they are so upset, why they are like this, or he's contemplating, why are they like this? So we have some of his trusted, subordinates there. We have Teika, we have Yashiro, and we have Inabi, and obviously Fugaku are there, and they're talking about the mistrust of Uchiha, like they've been forgotten. They haven't been recognized and they believe they should have been. So I wanted to share this with you guys, and this happens before the attack on Konoha. So this happens, briefly after the third great ninja war, and the fourth Hokage has been, chosen. So, all right, I'm home, Itachi calls out. He took off his shoes calmly in the entrance of his home, quietly walking through the hallway. Welcome home, Mikoto replied. Did you train alone today, too? Yes. Is Father in his room? Yes, but right now, in the village, I go by captain of the Konoha military police force, Fugaku corrected. I'm telling you, this is a plot by the elders. How is it that this Minato has been chosen to be the next Hokage, and not you, Lord Fugaku? Stop it. My son is listening, Fugaku commanded. Itachi's body shuddered slightly. He was caught. He lacked experience. Itachi grit his teeth. He had no other choice but to open the door. 4 people were inside. Do you need something? Fugaku asks. I wanted to ask you something about my shuriken jutsu. I'm busy right now. We can do this later. I understand. He shut the door quickly, and as he spoke, the moment it shut, a crimson light appeared in the eyes of the 4 people inside. Sharingan. It was the Kekkei Genkai of the Uchiha clan. As Itachi returned to his own room, he remembered the heavy air that filled his father's room. Without reason, he suddenly remembered the battlefield he saw with his father. That imagery of a fiery hell. He remembered it all too well. The ambience inside that room was the same as that bloody battlefield. What is my father thinking? He wondered. But there was no one there to answer his questions right now. Only to himself he could contemplate what his father was planning. But what is it? The only thing Itachi could do was aim higher, become stronger. All right. So, this kind of shows you that he realizes that the Uchiha clan have, this anger inside towards their own village because they're not recognized equally. And when he saw the Sharingan, or felt the Sharingan, or saw the red light, he knew there's something up. And yeah, so he's a very smart child, obviously. But I like to point that out because throughout these passages we saw Itachi, repress his Sharingan while his father, outright just released it. All 4 of them released it as he shut the doors, almost as if, they wanted to repress their anger, but they couldn't. They couldn't repress it. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. Now, it is interesting that Fugaku teaches Itachi the fire style because right away he shows him the hand signs, and, when he shows it, it's like massive. And, Fugaku's like, that's my boy. And we hear this throughout the episode, which I really like because that is part of his character. That's my boy. Right away he got it, and it was even bigger than his father's. So it was like, whoa, that was a really neat scene. And I like the fact that Fugaku is actually aware that people are watching him. He's aware. He's smart. He's not, unaware of what's going on. So he knows there's some kind of division between the Uchiha and the villagers, obviously. But yeah, that's the restoration period. Basically, this is right before Itachi joins the academy. So yeah, let's move on to the next part of the episode. Let's move on to the next part of the episode, and that is life at the academy. Life at the academy. Now, the life at the academy was shown pretty well in the anime. We get the grand entrance ceremony. We see Itachi and Izumi. Izumi is there, waving to him. So we still have that connection, and obviously they're continuing that from, when he saved her life in the attack on the Kyuubi. And then we go into the actual, the actual academy where, he's practicing his shuriken, where he's in class, and all of these people around him are sensing, have this jealousy towards him. They really want to be like him, but they can't even come close. When, Itachi is fighting another student, he easily defeats him, so he develops this rivalry between him, and he's got the funniest face. He's like, I will take him down. So he forms this group, and then Itachi is like looking up at the window, and all these, the little girls are like googling over him, oh, he looked at me, and Izumi's like the only one who has any connection to Itachi. So it's very interesting, seeing that jealousy for for Itachi around him, but it's also very difficult to understand how he would fare, socially in this environment, especially when you're so far advanced above everyone. It's got to be a difficult thing to do. But anyways, but then another bully shows up, and bigger and stronger, right? So what do? They run to Itachi, and that bully's like, what are you doing? How dare you, call me an idiot, because apparently he called him a baka. And then Itachi refuses to fight him, and then he starts throwing a punch, and Itachi knocks him out cold, easily. And then this is where he's like, clear the way for Itachi-sama. They start making him out to be like this really, really great person. And Itachi's like, how did I end up in this situation? I never wanted this. And he doesn't. He doesn't want this type of attention. But it was funny. It was interesting to see. But there's this one part that they didn't show in the anime, and I wish they did. This part is very key because while the anime connects Izumi and Itachi through, him saving her life at the QB attack, this scene is a bully scene that can be seen as something that connects them through their eyes, and not just, just like eyes like this. This is something like an imagery of something in their past. It kind of connects them. So it's very interesting. And I'm going to share this scene with you. And what's interesting too is one of these bullies eventually becomes Itachi's comrade as shinobi. So if you guys are wondering what is one of the names of one of the shinobi, one of them is Tenma. Tenma is one of the names, and this is one of the bullies. So here's the scene. Distrust of Uchiha. This is a scene of some bullies who corner Itachi and insult him for being an Uchiha. Someone he knows steps in and takes her stand. Apologize. Bow and apologize for being Uchiha. I refuse. Why, you... Stop it! I'm also from the Uchiha clan, and I have no intention of apologizing to you. The one who summoned the Kyuubi isn't from the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha clan also lives in the village. And in the confusion from before, important people died. So the one who is responsible cannot be Uchiha. Retire! I'm not going to retire. Then you too? Ah! Hey, look at that! It's the Sharingan! Go! Let's get the hell out of here! Izumi then pays attention to Itachi after the bullies have escaped. Are you okay? You... I'm sorry for interrupting. Izumi then faints after activating her Sharingan. She cannot control it. Izumi is then taken to the infirmary, where she rests until she wakes up again. Okay, guys, so this scene, think back to Naruto the Last. Those three bullies that are picking on Hinata, okay? and they're all, apologize, you're, the scary monster, it's kind of the same thing. They're saying apologize for being who you are. And, Izumi steps in and yells at them, and, eventually she gets angry. She gets angry and activates her Sharingan, and it freaks them out, right? And they just start running. And Itachi's, shocked, she has the Sharingan? What's this? But then suddenly she just passes out. She faints. So it's very interesting, this scene, because why I say this is because in the Kyuubi attack, obviously, Itachi also has the Sharingan, but he represses it, and she can't control it. So this shows the difference between the two. Okay, the next one has to do with Izumi and Itachi. This is right after she is in the infirmary, so it follows right after. Both Itachi and Izumi are connected by a memory burning in red. Now, Itachi's memory is burning in red, the fiery battlefield, right? The battlefield in which he witnessed everyone dying. That's the crimson red battlefield he remembers. Now, this burning memory of hers is different. I'm sorry for doing something wrong. She apologizes. Wrong? He asks, confused. It's just that you're Itachi-kun, and I just got in your way. But it's thanks to you that I was saved. When I got mad, without knowing it, I activated those eyes. How did you manage to awaken them? When the Kyuubi attacked, my father lost his life. Oh, but my father wasn't from the Uchiha clan. But my mother is Uchiha. And because my father died, I returned to the village, and I was converted into an Uchiha. And your father's death is connected to your Sharingan? Yes, the moment my father died, I was by his side. In front of my eyes, my father died protecting me. And that's why, if I was just stronger, he wouldn't have died. At the funeral and then after, I blamed myself. If I was just stronger, I could have. Then all of a sudden, I felt a great pain deep within my eyes, and chakra continued to collect in them. And then suddenly, I fainted. When I woke up, my mother showed me that it was the Sharingan. I see. Forgive me for making you recall such painful memories. No, don't worry, she laughs. Itachi extends his right hand and Izumi inclines her head, with the hope in silence. She removes her thin and delicate hand from the futon and slowly lifted it, and Itachi touched her white and delicate palm. Thank you, he says, and with those words Itachi spoke. Izumi managed a small smile. Alright guys, so this scene shows that they both are connected by their image of, death, right? Itachi had this image during the Third Great Ninja War, and now Izumi has it later on in the attack on the Kyuubi. Now, the attack on the Leaf, but she saw her father die right in front of her eyes. So this is her scene that she remembers. So they're both connected by this red imagery. So I thought that was quite interesting how they're connected this way. But in the anime, it's a little different. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. So on to the final part, and that is the part we call gifted. A gifted shinobi. Now, obviously the genius, gifted, same thing. But basically, Itachi is far beyond everyone. We already know this. And there's a scene where he uses a clone. Okay, we don't know it at the time, but he uses a clone, and he goes off and skips class. Okay, and he is training alone in the forest, right? And we see this scene. It's very interesting, guys, because if you think back to the Fourth Great Ninja War, after Itachi passes away and gives Sasuke that last moment, his long, no matter what you do from now on, I'll always love you. And when he disappears, Sasuke says, what is a shinobi? What is a clan? What is a village? Who am I? And what's interesting about this is Itachi says those same words, at this, the rock that has the ninja emblem on it. And we see him training there, right? So it's very interesting. I like that scene. And then we see Shisui. We see Shisui the entrance of Shisui. And I like this part in the anime. It's showing Itachi throwing, the kunai. And it shows his, his great skill. And obviously, Shisui's like, wow, you're so good at I can't believe you're this good at such an age. And they have their talk, and it's not the first time they meet, though. So it's a little different in the novel. In the novel, I broke it down in my latest breakdown, if you want to check it out. The idea where he watches him for, weeks and weeks, watches him as he's training alone. So he was never alone. He was training, he's watching him, and he comes to the conclusion that this guy, has purpose. So he meets up with him. And this is what he says. So in my passage, it says, I heard that you're a weird kid who doesn't like to talk much to people, but in reality, you're just stubborn. I've watched you train here daily for a while now. Shisui came closer and extended his hands. We should be friends, he said, in a tone that naturally feels drawn to. In response, Itachi lifted his hand and holds Shisui's. Good to know you, Itachi. Shisui smiled widely. Now, this is the scene where they first become friends. And this is in the novel. Now, here, this is later on, where they're talking more seriously. So Itachi, talks to Shisui and he's like, Shisui, why do people fight? And he has this moment and he's like, I don't know, but I keep fighting in the hopes that one day it can be stopped. So the purpose of them, coming together, they have this goal and it's connected. It's connected to each other. So what is the purpose of being a shinobi? And they believe it's to end the conflict, right? Other than those who believe it's to follow the code and also, to just, conflict will bring peace. So if they can, become stronger, one day that conflict will end. So this is very interesting that they don't really know how to achieve the peace, but it's more, it kind of reflects back to what Nagato says to Jiraiya Sensei, where he's like, one day, I like to, I don't know how to achieve this peace, but no matter what, I'll keep on searching. If there's such a thing out there as peace, I'll find it. And, but what's better than to achieve it is the power to believe it will happen. Now, this is very important because this, type of thinking that Itachi has eventually, goes to Naruto, which eventually, obviously, we know he ends up changing the ninja world. So this type of thinking that Shisui has is very similar to Naruto. Because in the end, he says, you carry the will of Shisui. And it's very clear to me that he does. And it's very interesting throughout this episode with Shisui and Itachi. So I like that part. I like that interaction. And then we go back to the academy, and we got the fight with the bully, and the bully punches Itachi, and he realizes he's gone, he's disappeared, and his proctor and his teacher's like, oh my god, what in the hell is going on? That's a shadow clone. Everyone is lost. Even the teachers are, in awe of like what just happened. So he informs the Hokage and Danzo, obviously, we must graduate him, right now. He's far above everyone else. And then, you get the notice from his parents, that's my boy, top in his class. So it just shows, Itachi's genius, his gifted talents. But I like how this episode shows the connection between Shisui and Itachi. That's my favorite part. And also Sasuke and Itachi. That was really great. I like both of those. Izumi and Itachi is very interesting, but the real focus to me is Itachi and Shisui and Sasuke and Itachi. Now, Izumi and Itachi would be more interesting if they had that scene with the bully, because that really connects them. She's not really a damsel in distress here, right? She's the one protecting Itachi. So I like this one better. That's my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. And as I said, I gave you a spoiler. So Tenma is one of Itachi's new comrades in his new squad. So next week we will be looking at his new squad, and I'm not really sure how far we're going to go, but in my next breakdown I probably will show some mission of that squad. So keep a lookout for that, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my latest review.